Namaste. So tonight I'm going to read chapter 40, book 9, chapter 40 on the birth of Lakshmi in the discourse of Narada and Narayana in the Maha Devi Bhagavatam. Vakratu Namakaya Koti Surya Samapradina. Hari Om Tat Sat. Narada said, O Lord, how did the eternal Devi Mahalakshmi, the dweller in Vaikunta, the beloved of Narayana, the presiding deity of Vaikunta, come down to earth, and how she became the daughter of the ocean? By whom was she first praised? Kindly describe all these in detail to me and oblige. Narayana said, O Narada, in ancient days when on Durvasa's curse Indra was disposed of his kingdom, all the devas came down to earth. Lakshmi too, getting angry, quitted the heavens out of pain and sorrow and went to Vaikunta and took the shelter of Narayana. The devas then went to Brahma with their hearts full of sorrow, and taking him from there, they all went to Narayana in Vaikunta. Going there, they all took refuge of the Lord of Vaikunta. They were very much distressed, and their throats, palates, and lips were quite dry. At that time, Lakshmi, the wealth and prosperity of all, came down on earth by the command of Narayana and became born in part of the daughter of the ocean. The Devas then, with the Dechas, churned the Kisroda ocean, and out of that Mahalakshmi appeared. Vishnu looked on her. Her joy knew no bounds. She, smiling, granted boons to the Devas and then offered a garland of flowers on the neck of Narayana as a symbol of marriage celebrated. On Narada, the Devas, on the other hand, got back their kingdom from the Asuras. They then worshipped and chanted hymns to Mahalakshmi, and since then they became free from further dangers and troubles. Narada said, O Bhagavan, Durvasa was the best of the Munis. He was attached to Brahma and had spiritual knowledge. Why did he curse Indra? What offense had he committed? How did the Devas and Dechas churn the ocean? How and by what hymns Lakshmi became pleased and appeared before Indra? What passed on between them? Say all this, O Lord. Narayana said, in ancient days, Indra, the Lord of the three worlds, intoxicated with wine, and becoming lustful and shameless, began to enjoy Rambha in a lonely grove. After having enjoyed her, he became attracted to her. His mind being wholly drawn to her, he remained there in that forest. His mind becoming very passionate, Indra then saw the Muni Durvasa on his way from Vaikunta to Kailasha, burning with the fire of Brahma. From the body of the Rishi emitted, as it were, the rays of the 1,000 midday suns. On his head was the golden matted hair. On his breast there were the hoary holy thread. He wore torn clothes. On his hands there were the danda and kamandalu. On his forehead there was the bright tilaka in the form of the crescent moon. Tilaka, a sectarian mark on the forehead made with colored earth or sandal paste. 100,000 disciples, thoroughly versed in the Vedas and the Vedangas, were attending him. The intoxicated Purandara, seeing him, bowed down to him, and he began to chant with devotion hymns to the disciples also. They were very glad. The Rishi, with his disciples, then blessed Indra and gave him one parijata flower. When the Muni was returning from the region of Vaikunta, Vishnu gave him that beautiful parijata flower. Old age, death, disease, sorrows, etc., all are removed by the influence of the flower. And the final liberation is also attained. The Devendra was intoxicated with his wealth, so taking the flower given by the rishi, he threw it on the head of the elephant Aryavrata. No sooner the elephant touched the flower than he became suddenly like Vishnu, as it were the beauty, form, qualities, fire and age. The elephant then forsook Indra and entered into a dense forest. The Lord of the Devas could in no way get him under his control. On the other hand, the Muni, Durvasa, seeing that Mahindra had thus dishonored the flower, became inflamed with rage and cursed him, saying, O Indra, you are so mad with wealth that you have dishonored me. The flower that I have gave you so lovingly, you have thrown that out of vanity on the elephant's head. No sooner one gets the food, water, fruits that had been offered to Vishnu, one should eat that at once. Otherwise, one incurs the sin of Brahmahatya. If anybody forsakes the things offered to Vishnu that he has got perchance, he becomes destitute of wealth, prosperity, intelligence, and his kingdom. And if he eats the food already offered to Vishnu with devotion, he then elevates his 100 families pass before him, and he himself becomes liberated while living. If anybody daily eats Vishnu's Naivedyam, food offered to Vishnu, and bow down before him and worships Hari with devotion and chants hymns to him, he becomes like Vishnu in energy and wealth. By mere touch with the air round about his body, the places of pilgrimage becomes all purified. Oh, you stupid, the earth becomes purified by the contact of the dust of the feet of such a one devoted to Vishnu. If anybody eats the food unoffered to Hari, and flesh that is not offered to any deity, if he eats the food of any unchaste woman, any woman without husband and sons, the food offered to any Sudra's Shraddha funeral ceremony, the food offered by a Brahmana who is a priest to the Sudras in honor of a Shivalingam, the food of a Brahmin priest who subsists on the presence of a temple, the food of one who sells his daughter, the food of one who subsists on dealing with womb concerns, the leavings of others, the stale food left after all others had eaten, the food of the husband of an unmarried girl 12 years old in whom menstruation had commenced, the driver of oxen, the food of one uninitiated in one's istamantram, of one who burns a corpse, of a Brahmin who goes to one not fit for going, the food of a rebel against friends, of one who is faithless, treacherous, one who gives false evidence, the food of a Brahmin who accepts offerings in a sacred place of pilgrimage. All his sins incurred in the ways above mentioned will be removed if he eats the prasadam of Vishnu, i.e. the food offered to Vishnu. Even if a Chandala be attached to the service of Vishnu, he sanctifies his millions of persons born in his family before him. And the man who is devoid of the devotion to Hari, he is not able even to save himself. If anybody takes unknowingly the remains of an offering such as flowers made to Vishnu, he will certainly be freed from all the sins incurred in his 7 births. And if he does this knowingly with intense devotion, he will certainly be freed of all sorts of sins incurred in his Koti births. So Indra, I am a devotee of Sri Hari, and when you have cast away the parijata to flower offered by me, the flower offered by me on the elephant's head, then I say unto you that the Maha Lakshmi will leave you and she will go back to Narayana. I am highly devoted to Narayana, so I do not fear anybody. I fear neither the Creator nor Kala, the Destroyer, nor old age, nor death. What to speak of other petty persons? I do not fear your father Prajapati Kashyapa, nor do I fear your family priest Prahaspati. Now he, on whose head there lies the flower parijata offered by me, verily he should be worshipped by all means. Hearing these words of Durvasa, Indra became bewildered with fear, and being greatly distressed and holding the feet of Muni, cried out loudly. He said, "The curse is now well inflicted on me, and it has caused my delusion to vanish. Now I do not want back my Raja Lakshmi from you. Instruct me on knowledge. This wealth is the source of all coils. It is the cause of the veil to all knowledge. It hides the final liberation, and it is a great obstacle on the way to get the highest devotion." The Muni said, "This birth, death, old age, disease, and afflictions all come from wealth and the manipulation of great power. Being blind by the darkness of wealth, he does not see the road to mukti. The stupid man that is intoxicated with wealth is like the one that is intoxicated with wine. Surrounded by many friends, he is surrounded by the unbreakable bondage. The man that is intoxicated with wealth, blind with property, and overwhelmed with these things, has no thought for the real knowledge. He who is rajasic is very much addicted to passions and desires. He never sees the path to sattvaguna. The man that is blind with sense objects is of two kinds. Firstly, rajasic, and secondly, tamasic. He who has no knowledge of the sastras is tamasic, and he who has the knowledge of the sastras is rajasic. O child of the Devas, two paths are mentioned in the sastras. One is pravriti, going towards the sense objects, and the other is nivriti, going away from them. The jivas first follow the path of pravriti, the path that is painful, gladly and of their own accord, like a madman, as bees, blind with the desire of getting honey, go to the lotus bud and get themselves entangled there. So the jivas, the embodied souls, desirous first of getting enjoyments, come to this very playful circle of births and deaths, this worldly life, which in the end is realized as vapid and the only cause of old age, death, and sorrow, and get themselves enchained there. From the many births, he travels gladly in various wombs, ordained by his own karmas, till at last, by the favor of gods, he comes in contact with the saints. Thus 1 out of 1,000 or out of 100 finds means to cross this terrible ocean of world. When the saintly persons kindle the lamp of knowledge and show the way to mukti, then the jiva makes an attempt to sever this bondage to the world. After many births, many austerities, and many fastings, he then finds safely the way to mukti, leading to the highest happiness. O Indra, what you asked me I thus heard from my guru. O Narada, hearing the words of the Muni Durvasa, Indra became dispassionate towards the samsara. Day by day his feeling of dispassion increased. One day when he returned to his own home from hermitage of the Muni, he saw the heavens overspread by the dechas, and it had become terrible. At some places, outrage and oppression knew no bounds. Some places were devoid of friends. At some places, some persons had lost their fathers, mothers, wives, relations. So no rest and repose could be found. Thus, seeing the heavens in the hands of the enemies, Indra went out in quest of Brihaspati, the family preceptor of the Devas. Seeking to and fro, Indra ultimately went to the banks of the Mandakini and saw that the Guru Deva had bathed in the waters of the Mandakini and sitting with his face turned towards the east, towards the sun, was meditating on Parabrahma, who has his faces turned everywhere. Tears were flowing from his eyes, and the hairs of the body stood erect with delight. He was elderly in knowledge, the spiritual teacher of all religious, served by all great men. He was held as most dear to all the friends. Those who are Jnanins regard him as their guru. He was the eldest of all his brothers. He was considered as very unpopular to the enemies of the Devas. Seeing the family priest Brihaspati merge in that state of meditation, Indra waited there when, after one prahara, 3 hours, the Gurudeva got up. Indra bowed down to his feet and began to weep and cry out repeatedly. Then he informed his guru about his curse from a Brahmin, his acquiring the true knowledge as so very rare, and the wretched state of Amaravati wrought by the enemies. O best of Brahmanas, hearing thus the words of the disciple, the intelligent speaker, Brihaspati spoke with his eyes reddened out of anger. O Lord of the Devas, I have heard everything that you said. Do not cry, have patience. Hear attentively what I say. The wise politicians of good behavior with moral precepts never lose their heads and get themselves distressed in times of danger. Nothing is everlasting, whether property or adversity. All are transient, they only give troubles. All are under one's own karma. One is master of one's own karma. What has been done in previous births, so one will have to reap the fruits afterwards. Therefore, property or adversity, all are due to one's own karma. This happens to all persons eternally, births after births. Pain and happiness are like the ring of a rolling wheel. So what pain is there? It is already stated that one's own karma must be enjoyed in this holy Bharata. The man enjoys the effects of his own karmas, auspicious or inauspicious. Never the karma gets exhausted in 100 koti kalpas without their effects being enjoyed. The karma, whether auspicious or inauspicious, must be enjoyed. Thus it is stated in the Vedas and as well by Sri Krishna, the Supreme Spirit. Bhagavan Sri Krishna addressed Brahma, the lotus born in the Samaveda Saka, that all persons acquire their births, whether in Bharata or in any other country, according to the karma that he has done. The course of the Brahmana comes through this karma, and the blessings of a Brahmana come again by this karma. By karma, one gets great wealth and prosperity, and by karma, again, one gets poverty. You may take 100 koti births, the fruit of karma must follow you. O Indra, the fruit of karma follows one like one shadow. Without enjoyment, that can never die. The effects of karma become increased or decreased according to time, place, and the person concerned. As you will give away anything to persons of different natures, in different times and in different places, your merit acquired will vary accordingly. Gifts made on certain special days bring in koti times the fruits, merits, punyam, or infinite times, or even more than that, again gifts similar in nature, made is in similar paces, yield punyam the same. So again, gifts similar in nature, made in similar places, yield punyam the same in character also. Gifts made in different countries yield punyams, koti times, infinite times, or even more than that. But similar things given to similar persons yield similar punyams. As the grains vary in their natures, as the fields differ, so gifts made to different persons yield different grades of punyams infinitely superior or infinitely inferior as the case may be. Giving things to a Brahmana or on an ordinary day yields simple punya only. But if the gift be made to a Brahmana on an Amavasya day, new moon day, or on a Sankranti day, the day when the sun enters another sign, then 100 times more punyam is acquired. Again, charity is made on the sorry. Again, charities made on the Chaturmasya period, the vow that lasts for 4 months in the rainy season, or on the full moon day, yield infinite punyams. So charities made on the occasion of the lunar eclipses yield koti times the result, and if made on the occasion of the solar eclipse, yield 10 times more punyams. Charities made on the Aksayaya Tritiya or the Naomi day yield infinite and endless results. So charities on other holy days yield religious merits higher than those made on ordinary days. As charities made on the holy days yield religious merits, so bathing, reciting mantrams, and other holy acts yield virtuous results. As superior results are obtained by pious acts, inferior results are obtained by impious acts. As an earthen potter makes pots, jars, etc. out of the earth with the help of rod, wheel, earthen cups or plates, and motion, so the Creator awards respective fruits to different persons by the help of this thread. Continuity of karma. Therefore, if you want to have cessation of this fruition of karma, then worship Narayana, by whose command all these things of nature are created. He is the creator of even Brahma, the creator, the preserver of Vishnu, the preserver, the destroyer of Shiva, the destroyer of the Kala, the great time of Kala, the time. Shankara has said, he who remembers Madhusudana, a name of Vishnu, in great troubles, his dangers cease and happiness begins. Narada, the wise Brihaspati, thus advised Indra and then embraced him and gave him his hearty blessings and good wishes. Here ends the 40th chapter on the 9th book on the birth of Lakshmi in the discourse of Narada Narayana in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapari. Om Tuyo Mata Chapita.